I'm Cindy Ho with the Arkansas Department of Education Homeschool Office. The purpose of this video is to train new school district homeschool contact people. It's also a refresher and some updates for experienced ones. The video and the PowerPoint will all be on the Homeschool ADE Homeschool webpage. So let's go through the video together. Okay, this is my contact information. If you need anything, please email me or call, and I'll be more than happy to help you. We're going to have 3 sections in this training today, and the first one's going to be changes for the 2016-2017 school year. We're also going to do some clarifications and reminders, and then the last thing we're going to do is learn about entering the paper forms in the homeschool database. The changes for this year. There's several pages about digital learning, and I'm not going to, as you get the PowerPoint, you can read through them. The basic information is there's a new law that school districts who are offering digital courses in their school can offer these same courses to homeschool students and to private school students. The plus for the students is that there are courses that they may, like advanced placement, that they may need that they don't have access to. And this way they can have access to it and the schools make it available. The plus for the school is that the school will receive foundational funding for these students. If the student does take a course at the school and it happens to be a course that is tested by the state, then that student will be required to also take the test. I'm not going to read all these, but they're all here, and you can read the law about the digital learning. Another new change for this year is entering data. We're asking district personnel to be trained to be entering the data forms into the state home-based database, the homeschool database. One of the things is we want you to encourage parents and guardians to use the online form. It's really easier for them if you tell them about it. If they go and do it online every year, all they have to do is go and update the grade and any curriculum changes and any address changes, but they do not have to do the form every year, a new form over and over. So I really do, it's a good thing for them. Another thing is if they do it online, they have access to their notice of intent at all times. They don't have to come back to school, but they can go online and copy it off whenever they want. Now, only families homeschooling for the first time are required to complete a paper notice of intent form. So those families need to do it, paper form the first year, but after that, encourage them to do the online form. After you enter the data from their home on the paper form, send the original copy to ADE. We need to have that on file in our office. So now, clarifications and reminders. We have students who re-enroll in school. Now, if they do it at the beginning of the year, they just don't do a new notice of intent, and that's not a big deal. But we do have quite a few who seem to re-enter during the school year. If that's the case, then we need you to notify the ADE homeschool office that who the student is and that they're re-enrolling in schools. Now, as the school district contact, you need to train your principals to be sure and let you know when a homeschool student has re-enrolled. Once they have and you notify us, the ADE will notify the homeschool contact when a student moves into another district. So if a child, well, that was sort of confusing, and I want to apologize for that. If a child does move to another district, would you please let us know, and we will contact another district that they're moving into. Another thing we talked about is participating in sports and other activities. Under what's called the Tim Tebow laws, homeschool students can participate in sports or other interscholastic activities. The thing is that there may be required to enroll at least one course. Now, the student is required to take the state test if that course is tested. Another thing is a student leaving a AAA member school to be homeschooled is required to wait 365 days before participating in any interscholastic activity. So I've had some who call and they've left school and they want to play football in the fall, and they have to wait a whole year before they can do that. Another thing is need to stress is that students can participate only in the school district in which they reside. They cannot homeschool, wait a year, and then go play for another district unless they move into that district. Another thing in the law is that registered sex offenders deals with the registered sex offenders. A student is not allowed to homeschool if a registered sex offender lives in the home. Now, the family of that student can petition the sentencing court, and the sentencing court can waive this, but that's a court decision. Now, this does not apply if the student to be homeschooled is the registered sex offender. There are also reasons that schools can deny a student being homeschooled. One of them, really the only one, is that if they're under disciplinary action, and this could include excessive absences. So if the student has missed too many days and now they, rather than get in trouble with the courts or whatever, they want to homeschool, you have the right to say no because of due to absences. Another thing is if they've been suspended, they can't homeschool. Under the law, they're not allowed to homeschool, but there are some exceptions to this. The student is eligible to homeschool if the superintendent of the school board allows that student to homeschool, the student has completed the disciplinary action or the semester has ended, and if the student has been expelled. If the student's been expelled, they can homeschool. Now, the big part is, this change this year, is we're asking all school districts to enter the paper form information into the homeschool database. You have seen, if you looked through several paper forms, I know you have, because we always ask that you look through them and preview them and make sure all the information is there before you send them to us. We have really set it up in such a way that hopefully it's going to be easy and an easy flow as you put the information into the database. One of the things, if you looked at the way you entered is exactly the way a parent enters it when they do an online form. So the first thing you do is you log into the access into the try-in and make sure that whoever's putting the information in has 2 bits of information. They have to have the district try-in password. They have to get into the district try-in, but they also have to have a special password just for the homeschool admin. You can get that information by contacting Sarah Cox at Arkansas Department of Education, and she will give you the information just so you can have access to the homeschool admin page. One of the things you also need to do is make sure that we have all the contact information for whoever will be inputting the information in. I have several districts this year have added some on because it is going to be a bigger job, and I do understand that. So in April, you received a commissioner's memo, and in that commissioner's memo, it told you about the training, and it also told you about a Google Doc where you went in and you gave the contact information. What you'll do is if you have more than one person, first person after they put it in, it automatically saves it, and you just go back and you enter another person. So once you get in, you've logged in with try-in, you have your password, then you go into your try-in page. And you'll see this is where if you have more than one, access to more than one program, this is where you'll see it. What you'll do is click onto the homeschool intent. If you do not see that on that page, that's when you definitely need to contact Sarah Cox and get a password for you. So you get in, and this is what the page looks at the ADE. This is not what your page looks like at the district. The only difference is where you see on ours that we have the list of all of the school districts. What you have a list of is, here's all the school districts. What you have a list of here are your students who are on your homeschool file. What you'll do at this point is you go up to the forms, and it'll take you to the form. But easiest thing to do, let me go to the next one, is you just hit this button right here. It says Add New Application. Anytime you're adding, you go back and you hit that button and add a new application. So here is exactly what it looks like when parents are filling in the information. One of the things that we have down here, if you look at Part A where it says school district, and what we ask parents to do is to put the school district that they live in. And we have several parents who are not sure what school district, so they do, I don't know. But what's lucky for you is that once you put it in, you know what school district, you click it, it fills in the superintendent, it fills in the county, it fills in everything. Then on the form, you'll notice that they'll give you the homeschool start date. If they're doing it now, it'll probably be August. Also, you'll have parents who will turn it in and they'll put to the school, actually the homeschool start date was before they gave it to you. They cannot start until they have turned it into the school. So whatever date that is, you need to go back and put the next day after they turned it into you. There really should never be any exception because the law says that they cannot start until they've turned it in. Then you just go through doing the information. Now this is the student information. And this is where you'll just see you put in the first name, all the information, the date of birth. Let me tell you about the date of birth. There's a little calendar here and you click on it, it'll give you today's date. And it's all for this year, 2016 or into 2017. What I do is I find the date. So if it was January 1st, 1999, then I go to January 1st and then I back up the year and, delete to get back until I can add in 1999. That's so much easier than if you go through trying to back that calendar up to 99, or if you have to type in the year, the date every time. So I found that easier for me to do. Then you get down here and it's asking you what the grade level was for last year, what they completed, and what the grade level is in this year, and the type of school they attended last year. It's not necessary, but if they put in the name of the school, we do ask you to put that in too. The next thing is really if they're planning to get a GED. And that's really important also because when we get to the curriculum, that'll make it much easier for you also. If it is a special needs child, and if they have an IEP, please click those two. One thing you need to know is homeschool kids who do have an IEP can work. The school district does set aside some funds to work with homeschool and private school parents. There's not much, so it's not promising parents anything, but it is something you need to be aware of too. Now, you've put in all the information for a student, and you go down here and let me back up just a second. You go down here and you hit add. If that's the only student that you're going to put in, then you click the next button, which is down there. If that is not the only student you're going to put in, you go back up and add another student. And as you add students, and you can't see it here, but below this add button, it lists the students that you've put in there. And that gives you a chance to also check to make sure you've got the correct information. Once you've put in all the students, then you go to next. And on this page is where we're asking you to put in whatever the curriculum or class schedule they've given you. One of the things is about the curriculum is all we really want to know is what subjects that they're going to be teaching. And it can be very broad. It can be just math, but if they get older, it would help if it's telling us they're going to be algebra. So every year we can see if it's algebra and geometry just to get an idea of what they are teaching. The class schedule, we do want to see, and we do want to know how much they're doing it. I think it's only fair that it's only fair that when you check it out to make sure they got all the information before you let them leave the office. If they don't have a class schedule there, if they don't have a curriculum there, you do need to have it because it's required information. And we also need to realize that teaching one student or two students at home is kind of not going to take as long as it would in the school. So it may be looks like it's very very little. Anyway, teaching going on, but keep in mind it does not take as much to teach two children. So then you'll hit the next button and you'll go on to the next page. Now, there's two very important pieces of information on this page, or things that you have to do. There's a lot of important information. Number one is it lists the parents. Make sure you have the correct information for the parents. Also, it lists the students. Sorry, y'all. You will see here, it's going to list all the students. This is where you have a chance, before you hit submit, to make sure you have all the students listed. If you don't, then you need to keep going back and add the new students in. Because once you hit submit, you cannot make any changes. So if a student's left out, left off, you can call me or the ADE homeschool office and we can correct it for you, but it's not something that you can correct at that point. So one of the things you make sure you have is up here, you click this. When you have the paper form, you'll notice on the paper form where it has the parents have signed the waiver, that they understand that they're signing that they are the parent or legal guardian, that they're not getting anything from the state, that they've read it and they understand everything. When you click that, that's telling us that the parents did sign it. If the parents didn't sign it, make sure that you get it. One thing we did about this new form is that we do have the waiver as part of the 2 pages, so it's not an extra page that they sign. Make sure they do sign it. Do that, and also you'll need to put in a phone number. If the parents have listed their phone number, put their phone number in. If the parents have not listed their phone number, then go on and put your phone number, the school phone number in. Once you've checked and all that's correct, then you're going to hit submit. Once you hit submit, this takes you to the final page, and this is where the application summary page is. What you'll need to do is once you hit this page and you've looked at it and you made a decision, there's 3 choices. One is ready for ADE review, which is what you're used to doing when you go through and you review the forms that parents online have done, and you go back through it and you look at it. Then you have any questions or you don't approve it or whatever, it's the same thing here. Also, you may have some comments. It's okay with you, everything's fine, but there's something you want us to know about this family or this student or whatever. And at that point, then you put approved with comment, and on the district comment box, just put in there what the information you want us to know. And the last one is not approved. And what we need to know here in the district comment box is your reason for not approving it. And it could be due to absenteeism. It could be the court order that they cannot homeschool. But for whatever reason you're giving that you're not approving them to be homeschooled, then you need to tell us the reason for it. Okay, that is the training for the homeschool. It's really, it's not hard. It's just paying attention. For me, I'm not speaking for y'all, for me, it's paying attention to make sure that I am just following and getting all the information in. One thing I do want to thank you for the work that you do. I've enjoyed talking to many of you, and I really do want to thank you for your professionalism also. Please contact me or homeschool office if there's any way we can help. If you have any questions, clarifications, whatever it may be, just please contact us and we'll be glad to help you. I'll remind you that you'll be able to find this Zoom training on our webpage and also the PowerPoint. Thank you.